If you don't like being limited by console platform, or you've ever thought, damn, it'd be sick to use this controller on this console, this is the video for you, as I've personally fiddled, diddled, and fondled all of the popular converters and adapters for the current generation consoles. This is for my personal uses, because my whole mentality on the topic is if you're going to spend, we'll say $200-300 on some kind of a custom premium pro controller, whether it be for Xbox, PlayStation, you probably ain't spending that kind of dough on a custom Switch controller, at least I hope to God you're not. You're gonna want to be able to use that on anything. PC, of course, you're always gonna be able to use it because, you know, driver support's there, it'll run anything for you. But Sony and Microsoft and Nintendo, being the greedy little money grubbing sons of guns they are, like to lock down the protocols for their consoles. PlayStation 5 is using Bluetooth 5.1 to communicate console to DualSense controller, but it's not an open Bluetooth 5.1 protocol, which is unfortunate because on the PS4, you could link all kinds of generic $20 DualShock 4 controllers, little pieces of plastic that I reviewed on the channel, and a lot of times they performed just like the licensed Sony joints for a fraction of the price. Microsoft has been on a huge push to eliminate converters or adapters, and a big reason for that is the Cronus Zen, which we're going to talk about. I don't recommend it at all, as it is a big, stinky, nefarious turd bucket. We're going to scrub that bucket out and see where all the stink's coming from. But if you just want a recommendation for each platform, hey, Kevin, I'm on PlayStation 5, or I got an Xbox Series, what converter or adapter do you recommend for me to be able to use any controller with the least amount of restrictions, where there's not crazy input lag or delay, or I'm not having to update it every other week because it's getting blocked by my console? Then you should probably skip to the end of the video, because I am going to be ranking these bottom of the totem pole, balls all the way up the shaft to the tip, the head of the converters or adapters. So this is kind of a tier list sort of thing, but not a tier list because I don't like those or do those. And a quick disclaimer before I get rolling, running, and gunning, all of these converters or adapters, with the exception of the Cronus Zen, were sent for review. However, as always, that is not going to affect my opinion. This is going to be an honest, comprehensive comparison. Any cons, shortcomings, areas of improvement will be showcased so these companies make better products over time. Starting with the converter or adapter that I simply can't recommend to any gamer with a pulse, that being the Cronus Zen or any Cronus device. And that's super easy to explain. A simple look at the box. Two of the three main key features at the top give you an unfair advantage, or are simple cheater features if you are using them in a multiplayer situation. That being digitally mod controllers. Yes, there are controllers with a built-in mod chip. For example, from Mega Mods, who went out of business, but Modded Zone, who's still doing their thing. And then over there, use a keyboard and mouse with controllers, which there are converters or adapters that's just what they do. They don't do any mods or anything, but they let you use a keyboard and mouse on controller, and most of the time with those, you're still getting controller aim assist, but with a mouse. So that's some cheat nash stuff right there. But I've always thought, excuse me, I'm backing up here. I've always thought that actually effed you up more. I tried it in some single player offline. I think it was like Uncharted or something, and it felt weird because you're not used to having aim assist on a mouse because you simply don't need it, and having it feather over the character models, it felt fucking stupid. And speaking of effing stupid, owning a Cronus Zen, it's just like having a Glock with a Switch. People are gonna think you're up to no good, and you probably are. Reason being, for the longest time, these devices were completely undetectable, and you can front load them with mods. So you can take a stock controller and add things like drop shot, automatic aim assist, and one of the ones that they even have right on the front says aim abuse. But furthermore than that, the body of this $100 device, and that is kind of expensive because a lot of the competitors that I am going to recommend later are in that $50-60 mark, has a really cheap plasticky body. That's a nice sound. Little itty bitty tiny display on it. You can tell the manufacturing costs go into the nefarious software, not so much the hardware itself. And one of the biggest cons of these suckers is this is the main device, the primary device that companies like Microsoft have it out for and want to block, rightfully so, because like I mentioned, they do give players an unfair advantage if they are seeking that out. So players that are looking for cheating features on controller, this is the device that they're probably going to pick. pick up, as opposed to the converters and adapters, which I'm going to cover later. Their whole goal or shtick is you can use what controller you prefer on a different console. Some of them do have turbo. Actually, most of them do have turbo, but that's a feature that's existed on third-party pro controllers since like the 90s. And for those of you that do not know what turbo is, it's when you hold down a button and it basically spam or repeat presses it for you. So you're playing a fighting game and you just sit back and sock your friend's chin off basically by holding down a button. The next devices that I simply cannot recommend are any kind of generic Xbox, Microsoft, PC adapters, which are clones of the licensed $30, I've seen it as low as $25, adapter that allows you to take Xbox controllers and headsets and wirelessly pair them up with the Xbox wireless protocol to your PC. Most of those generic adapters are using Bluetooth and usually an older Bluetooth technology like 3.0, as opposed to the actual Xbox wireless protocol, which is its own thing. This isn't really a converter, but it does adapt and allow you to be able to use Xbox controllers, accessories on your PC. And if you need one of those, just get the licensed Microsoft adapter. I know it's a little more expensive. I've had mine for like 4 years, still works great. Gulikit, it's small and really easy to lose and really doesn't have a lot of functionality compared to its competitors. The only one here that did have noticeable input lag or delay, which is unfortunate. Because of that, I'm not even really going to continue on with its features and stuff because it's bottom of the barrel here and we have a lot of adapters to get through. And also, this is an older model. I'm sure Gulikit's released some kind of a successor to this. At least I hope they have. They did. You reviewed it. Both models. 60,000 views from a year ago. You even tested the input lag or delay. Good job. This Armor X adapter, I don't even know how you slid in the back door or sewers or how you entered the gamer heaven, to be honest, but Armor X is generally known for their strike pack style, strapping a big plastic ass to the back of an Xbox controller devices that you can buy on AliExpress for around $27 to make your wireless controller wired and introduce input lag and delay that wasn't there, and the ergonomics of the buttons are bad because they stick really far off the back shell. And Armor X is actually a product line from Bigbigwon, who has made a Switch controller that I liked at the time and still really enjoyed to this day, like 5 years later. But they got the R90 over here. Sounds like a Nissan Skyline motor or something. Wired. Supported PS4 games. Down here, PS5 games not supported. There's adapters over here that do that. Also, come down here, frequently returned item. Oh, but they do have a white variant. That's got to count for something. Get off my table. The Mayflash. No, you may not flash me. Close your trench coat back up. They don't even sell this item on Amazon anymore. Problems, plural, being with this device that it mentions here in the description that it supports 6-axis motion gyroscope on Switch. I was never able to get that running. Vibration intensity and dead zone control. I wasn't able to get any vibration working, and nor was I able to use any headsets through the 3.5mm headphone jack. So a lot of setbacks in a device that's no longer even easily findable on the internet. Pass for me. Let's quickly veer down Nintendo lane because you fine people only need to worry about 2 converters or adapters. You have the 8-bit Do 2, which is a $20 adapter. It uses Bluetooth 4.0. I do recommend it very highly as every controller I've tried to use with it worked. It does have 4 modes of connectivity: X input, D input, Mac, and Switch mode. It did work with 6-axis motion control on the Switch as well as vibration, and I was even able to scan amiibos while connected via the adapter. Another really cool feature unexpected in a $20 adapter is the fact that you do have a software suite available for it. So when you're using the converter or adapter, you can remap, you can adjust your stick dead zone and sensitivity curves, even set up macros. And at $20, this little adapter really can't be beat. The only downsides or cons compared to its competitor I'm about to mention, which is like $8 more expensive, is there is no USB port in the back. So if you want to go wired with controllers, which does open up a larger world of compatibility, as you can use fight pads and a bunch of crazy weird PC controllers. And its competitor I'm about to mention is on Bluetooth 5.0, which is faster and more consistent, especially the farther away you get from your device. If you want a little bit more functionality, you do have the NS Lite from Brook Accessories. I have the NS Original, and you would think that this device would be called maybe the NS2 or NS Plus or something like that, because generally light means a lesser model, and this actually has more features than the original. It has 5 levels of turbo versus the 1. You can't tell because I have a dark theme on, but if I disengage it for a mo, there is no macro on the original. And you can actually go wireless with Xbox Series X controllers, including the Elite. So the light is definitely the way to go. As with all Brook accessories adapters, very easy to use. Just like Nana pinching your cheeks, you come in, you pinch these 2 buttons on the side, which are LED strips. They'll start to flash, and then you put your controller into Bluetooth discoverable mode, and they should pair up seamlessly. Now, I do recommend with all Brook accessories adapters, might as well get it out of the way right now, to do that initial firmware update, because there's a chance that it doesn't work for you at all, or if it does, it's very sporadic and skippy and wonky, and you're thinking, Kevin, why have you been recommending these things for years? They suck. No, my friend, you got to do the update, which I've walked you through, but you don't really need me for that because it tells you when you look at the little QR code, hey, update me before you use me. Now, since we are on the topic of Brook accessories, if you do have a retro console, like a, oh, goddamn. Excuse me, Acid Reflux, the Redux, the remake. If you have a PlayStation 1, 2, Nintendo Entertainment System, Sega Genesis, any kind of retro console, Brook accessories, they do have adapters to where you can use pretty much any modern controller, even some premium pro controller with paddles on the back, on any rusty, dusty, musty, classic relic that you find in your attic. Having said that, there is adapters in the Brook accessory lineup that I do not recommend, and it is any of this style where you snip it into the bottom of your Xbox controller. These are, what's the opposite of superior? Inferior. That's the one. Inferior in comparison to this stick-a-gum looking ass Wingman series. That's what this line is called, the Wingman. We've reached the top dogs, the head honchos, the big brass. You're sitting around the round table with the executives right about now.
Right now.
The adapters that are the crowned kings around here. If you are on the Xbox side of the house, I cannot recommend enough the Brook Accessories XB3. I've been using the XB2 unrestricted for the longest time, and whenever that does become firmware blocked, as Microsoft is on a headhunting mission for these converters and adapters, the XB3 designed to supersede or pass through that blockade. But Brook accessories, much like the 8-bit Do 2 adapter that I mentioned a second ago, do have constant update support. So anytime there's any kind of a block from Sony or Nintendo or Microsoft, you paid for a converter or adapter, so the company is going to continue to support it through software with updates. And that's not always the case, but the reason I like Brook accessories adapters, the first and most important one through my eyes, is ease of use. You just want it to work, and it does. Yeah. Any controller I want to play on any platform, I can grab one of my Brook accessories adapters, and if it's not working, there's probably an update that's gonna get it working. And they do have the lowest input lag or delay that I've personally seen measured on charts. I've never noticed any input lag or delay playing with them wired or wirelessly. 90% of the time when I'm using one of their adapters, it is wireless, as that is one of their best features, is that they use the latest Bluetooth technologies. So the wireless connectivity is very good, not only in consistency, not losing connection, but also speeds, you know, your input lag, your delay. And they're always very humble. They always underquote their compatibility. It says 135 plus controllers. It's probably the controller world and all the premium and pro controller joints. Now on the PlayStation side of the house, we've been kind of screwed up until about, it was about a year ago or so. I made a video when this bad boy hit the market because this was some serious news. The FGC2 does allow you to wirelessly use damn near any controller with, as it says in the front, immediate response, so minimal input lag or delay, none that you're going to notice, to play PS5 games. Because before, you could adapt Xbox controllers, but it would give you an error message when you launch a PS5 game. So you were limited to navigating the console and playing PS4 games. This adapter, which is currently $60, does allow you, again, I'm so modest here, 150 plus controllers, it does allow you to play PS5 games, which is pretty sick. It says no setup needed. I would retort that and say you do need to do that initial update. This is interesting too. It is also labeled as tournament ready because this is one of the few adapters where you can disable all those features and it can quickly be checked that yes, all that is turned off. Turbo, macro. It's literally just being used to convert so you can use the controller you want on the platform that you want. High precision, low latency. You're saying all the words that I like to hear. And after using it, since it came came out. Kevin, you want to test this thing? And they already knew the answer before they asked the question. This thing is pretty rad. An honorable mention, because the Brook accessories adapters are fantastic, but there's another one on the market that's also a real piece of ass, and that would be the P5Mate from Bezavier. For those of you that caught my Beloader Bezavier review, I really enjoyed that controller because in essence, it's one of these converters or adapters in a premium or pro controller for the PS5 that's actually pretty damn good. It has a nice, usable 4-rear button layout, but if you do not want to pay $180, $200 for the controller, you can pick up just the adapter, which gives you all of that compatibility that I showed you in that video, which in essence is pretty much the same as the FGC2, although I have noticed the FGC2 tends to work a little bit more seamless. So this is an honorable mention and a supremely interesting device, but I can't really recommend it as of now just because of the price and availability, being that it has the same functionality as the FGC2 from Brook, which this device was on the market first. So this was the first, hey, play any PS5 game with any controller device, but it is now out of stock on the website and also on Amazon. There are some serious pros and cons of this device. I'm going to get the cons out of the way. First of all, you can't really buy it, and it's more expensive than the FGC2. Build quality wise, it's really light, plasticky, flimsy feeling. As for the pros, this has the lowest claimed input lag or delay of any wired or wireless adapter that you can use on the PS5, as they're claiming 0 latency when going wired and 1000 hertz through wireless, which is impressive. So if you're using a 1000 hertz controller, you've overclocked it, you got a 1000 hertz controller, that only takes effect on the PC. But anyway, let's say you've got some fast controller that actually works on the PS5. You would be able to pass through that speed through that 1000 hertz pass through with the adapter. No other adapter did it. Was the fact that this does support 2 controllers and a headset at once. You use doubles games, they call it, 2-player games, co-op games, whatever. Plus it has a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack on it as well. And I haven't tried this, but there's a possibility if you used a USB hub like from Anchor or something, you could in essence plug in like 3 or 4 controllers to one of these things. And since it has the headroom, the overhead with the 1000 hertz, you could get multiple controllers connected and not have noticeable input lag or delay. But you can't buy these anymore. But honorable mention, and I did want to mention that I've messed around with this adapter quite a bit and I thought it was interesting, cool, if you can get your hands on it. Still recommend the Brook accessories FGC2 if you're on PS5, the XB3 if you're on Xbox Series. That was all the popular converters or adapters for controllers on the market that I personally have tested. There's probably more out there. Please drop them in the comment section below, and there's a chance that I check them out in the future. Hopefully this was beneficial to you. If it was, you know what would be helpful for me, pulling down your trousers and hitting the like button, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace. If you enjoyed the video, liking it helps it to get seen by more gamers, so this information will reach and assist them as well. Much like the back of the TV, I've got plugs for all of my socials down there in the description below. And your wallet will greatly thank you if you check the description, because there are exclusive discounts on a ton of products, including controllers, KontrolFreeks, keyboards, mouse pads, clothes, and energy drinks. And keep in mind that you, the viewer, keep this channel running. The more Stallions and Stallionettes trotting around the stable, the better, so mollywop that subscribe button like it owes you money, and we'll have the same amount of fun tomorrow.